Ian is currently miming and Don is doing the limbo.
Hello. Hell yeah! I mean, here we're live, stuck in VR. All right, hello everyone, and thanks for giving us your time today for VR Gamescast. I'm Ian Hamilton in New York, joined by Don Hopper in Missouri, as we discuss what people are playing in VR headsets. We're wearing Quest 3 headsets with last generation meta avatars. We're using hand tracking and built-in microphones, and we've routed all of this to Beck out there in Canada, broadcasting this show for us today. I got Beck in my ear for any producer notes. Don cannot hear the messages from God, but I can, and I can relay them to Don as necessary. And yes, this is my stuck in VR miming situation. That's my physical wall right there, but it's a very nice illustration of being stuck in VR. All right. Hello to Davin. Hello in Headset VR. Not Suspicious. That's the developer behind Airspace Defender out there. Thank you for tuning in. Daniel Leeper, as well as all the viewers that will be coming in over the course of the episode. We've got tablets here in front of us so we can see our comments. If we don't address them immediately, we'll keep them in the back of our mind, try to bring them up throughout the show as we can. Hello to AD. Also, hit the like button. Maybe share this link out to other people.
Please.
Before we get live here in the studio, we always do all sorts of weird things. I was just interviewing the developer who made Figment XR in this studio, so I've got a pre-recorded interview that I'm going to put together here. And we were... Oh man, it's crazy to try to set up a broadcast across 3 locations and all that. I want to say thank you to our patrons out there. That's Mike Manzano and HoloNet Podum, the developer of Smash Drums, as well as XR Developer News. Thank you so much for your support, as well as all our members and regular commenters. Don, what do we have today?
Well, Ian, we're gonna kick it off today with a premiere of a trailer for a pretty unique fighting game for Quest, and then we're gonna go over your news about Alien Rogue Incursion's delay until next year, and then after that, I think we're gonna spin things around, pun completely intended, and I'm gonna give you guys some very brief first impressions of the ROTO VR Explorer chair and talk about our upcoming review.
Are you in the chair now?
I am not in the chair now. I had meant to do it, but there's a good reason, because I have to do the podcast from the bedroom, and the chair is currently in front of the green screen. So, and it's very heavy, and we'll talk a little bit about that. It is a very heavy chair, but yeah, we're gonna talk about that and take some questions from you guys about the device. I'm currently working on the review, so I would love to find out what you guys want to know about this device and what it can do. And then after that, I think we will round out the show today by talking a little bit about Vertigo's decision to kill those creepy spiders with an Arachnophobia mode that's coming to Metro Awakening, and why that's needed for some players to be able to enjoy the game. So I think let's get it started, and let's check out the trailer for Virtual Kombat.
Yeah, so I think Beck's going to throw that one up full screen, and then we'll talk about why we're sharing it, because it's a really interesting one. And thank you to the developer for sharing this with us.
Round 1. Fight!
All right, so that was a cool trailer for Virtual Kombat, very early in development. I want to say thank you to AD for the super chat money there they just put into our chat. That was a big donation. Thank you so much, saying you are amazing out there. Let's see. Yeah. So Don, you actually tried this one out a little bit,
I
right?
did. Yeah, I actually played a bit of it over the last couple of days, mostly last night. And, I got to say, it's actually an interesting game and it's fun. And it's definitely a different take on the classic 2D arcade style fighting game being brought into VR. And, I think the things that really made it interesting for me is the fact that you are still having to kind of slap or punch the buttons in front of you. So it's not that typical just kind of crouch down in your stance. You've got a controller in your hand, or you're doing that. So it actually does two things there. It kind of, in a way, mimics that feeling of slapping buttons on the arcade cabinet. So that kind of really brings that home to that style of gaming. And it also makes the game more physical and interactive. So I thought that was a very unique combination for virtual reality to bring this old school style 2D fighting game into VR, but kind of still make you feel like you were playing it arcade style, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, so I'm going to go a little off topic here and just go off of everything here, but Not Suspicious out there, they submitted Airspace Defender for the
Love that
summer
game.
showcase, and we're going through all of our showcase entries right now. They're coming in from devs on an ongoing basis. If you're doing something interesting out there, please submit it for the showcase. Give us a look at what you're doing. But what I loved about both this one and the Airspace Defender experience is you can tell just by looking at the video something new and different is happening
Mhm.
here, and
Yes.
you can see like I'm getting there's these highly produced trailers for first person shooters where they're trying to get the pacing down and introduce you to the characters, show you a bit of the action, lure you into the story and the art style and everything. But then you've got these other games where it's just, huh,
Yeah.
that's weird and different, and we're still like, it's amazing to see devs that just take straight gameplay out of their game, straight from the perspective of the player, nothing really cut together, and you can still convey a ton to the
Mhm.
viewer with mixed reality and with just a new kind of gameplay approach. And that's what this one caught my eye for, was
Yeah,
because it had
I
that
do.
different approach.
And I agree that, like I sure, who doesn't love a highly production value produced trailer? I mean, come on, that I watch these trailers sometimes and it gets me more jazzed than the movie or the game that I'm about to play. But at the same time, when it comes to something like this and the fact that we don't get a lot of demos for games on VR stores, it's nice to see actual gameplay and to say, okay, well, this is what it's going to look like. I mean, you know this for a fact that when I do articles on the site and things like that, I always try to incorporate actual gameplay into them, not just dropping a YouTube trailer in. I want people to see this is what you're about to get. This is what you're about to get into.
And so the way this works, as I understand it, is the stick still moves your
It
character
does,
back and
yeah,
forth, left and right, just like a traditional game. And so
right.
you're there trying to tweak the placement of your fighter in just the right spot, but then you've got to physically hit these
Hmm.
floating buttons right in
Yeah,
front of you.
absolutely.
And I'm seeing a commenter asking about motion sickness. Was there any sense of the?
I don't suffer from it personally, but I can tell you that since the plane of the game really remains as kind of almost a flat 2D and you're kind of looking around in it and you're not really navigating inside the game, I really think it's going to be forgiving for people who suffer from VR sickness.
Yeah, so this isn't I did. That's why we're showing this. Why we've asked them to show it to you on this Gamescast, and obviously we've got our showcase coming up. But the Gamescast is a fine place for us to show off new ideas, interesting ideas. I
Absolutely.
think we've got a really welcoming community out there of people who understand these are early work in progress ideas, and we're just sharing interesting things that catch our eye. Right? We're not necessarily
Absolutely.
recommending
Yeah.
this thing as a finished product or it's worth your money any more than anything else. We want
At
to
this point,
keep
no,
raising
yeah.
up those interesting ideas.
Yeah. We want to showcase your work. So, if you are a developer that watches our show, please reach out to us. Tips at UploadVR. DM me over on Twitter, email me, email Ian. We would love to be able to be a vessel to premiere your work to the world. So please, by all means, keep them coming.
Yeah, if we don't respond because we're too busy or we didn't find it interesting right now, don't take that as a personal, affront. It's we get busy. There's reasons why we can't respond. Hit us again in a couple months when you've done a little bit more work. Send a couple more emails down the line. It doesn't hurt to kind of ask us a couple months apart. That's Figment XR is a good example of. Gosh, the story I just heard over there, he's been in development since the HoloLens days.
No, actually, yeah, and this is a true story, and I hope he's in our chat to back me up on this. I was the very first person to ever review Figment XR on YouTube. I did it on the Nreal Light, original Nreal Light developer kit. And it was just, even then, it blew my mind. And now, as you guys can see from our best mixed reality list and the video that I put out, Figment XR has allowed me to decorate my entire house in Star Trek. I've got life-size Picards and Seven of Nines and Voyagers flying into black holes up in the ceiling of my living room. I love that app. I just absolutely love that app.
Yeah, I was vibing to. They had a dance room with who was it? Napoleon Dynamite, and I was dancing like Napoleon Dynamite very quickly. It had this incredible vibe just in a few seconds there. So we'll have an interview or something with Figment soon, but that's a good example of an app that's just been out there brewing for a really long time. One of my favorite bits from that interview that the tidbits that he brought up was he was funded by Magic Leap. He got some money from Magic Leap back in the day. And we think like Magic Leap poofed out of the, they laid off half their employees. And as he was pointing out, the developer of Figment, that all those layoffs from all those people at Magic Leap just went and seeded the rest of the VR market and AR market with very creative people who wanted to go find out what else was out there. So very, very interesting.
Just real quick, I got to call out this comment from Dunedum. Yes, Dunedum, anybody who makes a Star Trek MR game, it will get my priority. I'm just saying. So
yeah, totally fair. If we live for Star Trek, it's the model in my mind. You go Geordie LaForge, I'll keep bringing him up. He is the model of AR long term, when you can see better with a pair of and with a visor on than without. It's something that's going to happen. Beck, we can't see the comments anymore because of the poll.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got next?
There we go. All right. So I think next we were going to kind of talk a little bit about your story on Aliens delay.
Yeah, so I like the results on the tool now that we've got. Show us anything we think is cool, winning, and I like the other option, AAA or die. Ooh, we've got only one vote, I think, out of 9 there. Yeah. So it's a good ratio. We don't VR isn't big enough for AAA, period. And I think the term AAA is like, it's almost like catnip for investors.
I think it is.
Instead of gamers. It's like, would you call, like, even calling Call of Duty AAA seems so messed up when there's just a new Call of Duty game every 6 months or a year in order to keep those
AAA to me
flowing.
means special. Like, there's something special about this game, and not like rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat.
But ops are saying that VR is overloaded with experimental tech, demo, sandbox games. It needs more AAA. I get that, but I'm going to propose to you that we're still in the experimental phase of VR. We've got devs like Airspace Defender in our comments who are still identifying exactly how to pinch interact with games and how to make a game that feels really great in just your local area. And goodness, that's after 10 years of controller track games, right? That's a whole decade devoted to games that you can track and have a little bit of haptic effects. Now you need to make the game work with a pinch. Yeah. And that's a whole new area of exploration.
And I'll play devil's advocate real quick. I mean, I personally kind of prefer the experimental stuff sometimes. I mean, AAA is great, and don't get me wrong, we need it in VR to bring lots of heads into headsets, but never discount all the experimentation that's going on, because that is what's going to give us a new form of AAA. I mean...
Yeah, so Daniel Leeper out there, I see you in the comments. I'm just going to let you writhe out there with your childish jokes without responding to you. So let's talk about Alien Rogue Incursion. So this was a highly anticipated game for 2024 on Quest headsets, and now all those Quest owners are going to have to go figure out a different game to play around Christmas time.
A lot of them coming.
Yeah, so it's still coming to PSVR 2, according to Survios, as well as PC. They're going to prioritize those versions for release this year. But as kind of identified in my hands-on report, we had the first reporting on this, that it was looking like a delay might be possible.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, they dropped it that Rogue Incursion is not coming out till early next year on Quest. I'm even worried it won't make it even on the PC and PSVR. But
I'm starting to feel that way. I mean, it's, I don't know. What makes me wonder is why would they split their release like that? Because to me, if I was just sitting in a consumer's shoes and I'm sitting there going, oh, wait a minute, it was supposed to release on all 3 platforms. Now they're pulling back the Quest, but they're still looking at PSVR 2 and PC VR. What's wrong with the Quest? What is it about this game that you can't get working? What's not working right, for that system that you needed to pull that back?
So Ross saying it's tough to build a new gaming medium. People compare it to early gaming and how that had to grow, but it's like early gaming competing with modern gaming. There's actually a really cool Vision Pro game from the Shell Games developers, where it's very much like a Minesweeper, but it's spatial Minesweeper. And they had a cool interaction in that game where when you have a whole row of blocks that you can clear in this game, all you have to do is look at the block, and it's eye tracking your headset because it's an Apple Vision Pro. You look at the block you want, then you pinch to select that block, and then you go like this, and it clears out the entire row of blocks, even the ones you can't see. They're included on the back of this object. You can't make spatial games until all of your users are able to grasp that kind of interaction and have it work 100% of the time. And gosh, it's still like the article I'm working on right now is a mobile desk. I've got a rolling desk right here.
Oh yeah.
As well as a bag for my Quest and my Vision Pro that straps to my chest. So it's just a shoulder bag, but the convenience of these two things completely changes like my house. You used to, if you go back, rewind 50 years, you would have the study or an office. You would have this specific room of the house where someone was supposed to work and set up all their papers, their books, they would have a fax machine over the years, and a PC got in here, and you've got your phone right on the desk, all this equipment and stuff around in order to make working from an office a physical thing. Well, I've got a bag now that goes over my shoulder, and in that bag you can put a battery. The battery runs to the headset. The battery stays off of your head. You've got no extra weight. All that weight on your head, all those people that get bobos or whatnot on their head, I can't stand it. I can't stand adding an extra gram to my head
that's
than
so weird,
is necessary.
I can't go without my Bobo. I am like the total polar opposite of that. It's like I would take the weight for all of the adjustment and comfort that head strap brings. So
yeah. So the strap, like, it's such a useful thing to be able to, like, okay, pull my headset out, put a battery in there, or leave the battery in there that's already in there, run a cord out, zip the thing back up, and now you've got this shoulder pack that's right here out of the way. I don't mind that extra weight. Walk around everywhere with a bag like that all the time. And then you've got either a Vision Pro on your head or a Quest. And then you've got a mobile desk that's just small on a pair of rollers, put a drawer on it, put a cup holder on it. And boom, your desk can go wherever in the house it needs to go. You don't have to dedicate a room for an office anymore. And this is, I bring this up as such an off-topic thing because in addition to the UI that is still getting worked out for how to interact with these games using track controllers, untracked controllers, using your pinch, in addition to that still being worked out by the developers who are in our audience, you're also having these products that are absolutely necessary to like get more use out of your VR headset throughout
Oh
your
yeah.
day. Like, how many infrared lights are being sold one at a time by people who are discovering, oh, I actually want to use my VR headset in bed
Yep.
for a couple hours and not disturb my partner right next to me. And you need kind of an infrared light out there to help illuminate the room a little bit for the headset and help out. Anyways, these things are happening slowly, but they're happening more quickly over time. Like, more people are searching every week for these accessories that will unlock all of these new use cases. And every week we get new developers in our tips inbox telling us about new things. Any comments you want to respond to there, Don?
Yeah, just a couple. Back to kind of Alien. People are kind of talking a little bit about different things here, but we got Opzar kind of going back to my question of why Alien might be getting delayed on Quest 3. He says either Quest 3 is not strong enough or there's just not enough units out there, and he thinks it's the later. Now, I'm going to say no, it's probably performance, because they're not going to hold a game back that's been announced for Quest 3 just because they didn't sell enough Quest 3s. I mean, that's not going to be something a company like that does. Not that big.
It's also weird timing that there have been a lot of people very concerned. This is another subject we're on and pursuing, but visibility has been the word we've heard again and again from devs
That's
concerned
huge.
about the visibility of their games. People like Geek Odin, the creator of Virtual Desktop, has been in the comments of VR Download a lot, talking about him not seeing a sales bump. But the thing is, we are 2 weeks away from Black Friday, and that's when the sales bump really arrives. So from Black Friday, that's the Friday after Thanksgiving at the end of this month, that's when all the sales hit. Everyone gathers together some of their paycheck to put down on Christmas presents that they want under the Christmas tree at the end of December. And between Black Friday and Christmas morning, it's the Super Bowl for VR developers out
Huge.
there. They want to be in that big purchase cycle. We have Behemoth coming up in that period. We have Alien Rogue Incursion, which picked the last day of the year, basically, to try to release their game. And that's why we're so concerned about whether even PSVR and PCVR games can actually ship.
I think it gets delayed personally, but I feel the developers' pain right now, though. And I mean, it is a subject that I'm seeing more and more all over socials. Lots of people talking about this. Why am I getting force-fed Horizon World Toilet Simulator or whatever, today's goofy world that they want me to go visit versus all of these amazing games? And we just had Metro come out. I don't see it on the front page of my Meta app, man. And this is a AAA game. I mean, so what is going on with Meta and their decision to constantly force feed these Horizon worlds into our feeds? It's just insane, and it is hurting developers. So I really wish they would stop. So
yeah, it's kind of like I don't want to get into it too much. Shola did an amazing couple of videos for us. So thank you so much, Shola.
Yes, absolutely.
Saying there, crowded holiday market with high quality titles really showing off the hardware. Why not release it a bit later after the noise, improve the graphics performance, and hold to January and February to yourself? That is a good call out. I think there's a lot of advantages to Servios to do that. It would break a lot of hearts who were looking for terrifying their family around Christmas. I mean, like Alien Isolation, that was the thing I did, was put the VR headset on someone and then watch the alien spike through their chest.
Yes.
And then scream, pull the headset off, and boom, I just showed you VR in 2016, 2014 even, and showed you the power of what this headset can really do. And we want that again. We want it in standalone now, all these years later. And Christmas is such a pure time to pull that off.
It is.
When you've got everyone gathered around. But as Shola is pointing out, there are a lot of other games this holiday season. Behemoth is the one that has got a lot of people really, really excited. What do we got next, Don?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, next we were going to kind of get into, and I'm going to keep this brief, and I'm going to really try to not spoil it because we are kind of in a review in progress state on this right now. But we're going to talk about quite possibly my new favorite toy this week, and that is a chair that spins you round and round and round. We should have put up like the old '80s song, "You spin me round, round." Yeah, but yeah, it's literally a chair that you sit on and it moves with your head. It's a simple, simple, simple concept, but it works so well.
Well, works so well in a few days of testing. We've got to really
a few
put it
days of
through its
testing,
paces.
in my initial impressions, right? I'm just saying, it's like I felt sensations that I have not felt in VR before.
Yeah, I like Daniel Leeper's pushback here. Oh dear, this thing looks pointless. I think that's why we're asking you to wait for our written breakdown of this product, and because I'm looking at it the same exact way, where it's like, why? What's the
and I was scratching my head too. Like as I was building it, as I was setting it up, I'm sitting here going, why do I need an office chair analog that spins me around? And I'm going to get into a lot of this in our impressions, our review, whatever we're going to be doing with it. But two things right here, right now. I mean, as you guys are kind of seeing, I did put a little bit of video together here. Any game where you are swinging or flying and you have to make course corrections midair, you feel it. And it is kind of an intense feeling, and it's really, really cool. Now, is that going to be for everybody? I don't know. I still need to get my wife on this thing. She suffers from motion sickness because they're saying that it actually can help to cure motion sickness. I really want to put that to the test.
We've heard plenty of those claims over the years. Too many of those claims. Yeah,
exactly. Because you do get that kind of pit and roller coaster hill butterflies in your stomach as you're doing an arc on a turn, and you swing and then you're coming back down. Flying as Iron Man in this thing actually made me feel like I was kind of flying, and it just really was, once again, just another step down the rabbit hole of immersion. Another thing that can take you deeper down that role. So
like Opsar's concern there, this is going to break so fast. Yeah, you look like you're teetering on that thing a little bit. I'm a little worried. But it does seem like such an interesting idea.
It's a cool concept, and I, like I said, we're going to keep this section brief, but I will have more thoughts coming, more gameplay examples, things like that. So look for that soon on UploadVR, and of course here on our channel as well. We'll have a video of this as well. But so far, so good.
Cool. Yeah, we'll have a breakdown on that very soon as Don dives into it. We've just had it a couple. Yeah, lots of really interesting things. What was the price on it for the people that are curious? Where are they pricing this?
I need to look the price. I want to think it's right around the 500 range.
Yeah. So a big chunk of change, and honestly, like there's a swivel chair is your best friend for most VR experiences, period of, regardless of whether it's going to spin you around or whatever that advantage is, go get yourself a spinning chair for your VR experiences. Cause
I think
so
the one thing I can tease on it that was unexpected to me was productivity. And it was literally going into virtual desktop and having all of these monitors surrounding me, like literally. And then if I wanted to go over to this monitor, it was as simple as literally just looking towards it, and then the chair would just move me to it. Looking towards it, the chair would move me to it. So that right there, little caveat of, another thing that it can do outside of gaming that was kind of cool. So
Daniel Leeper saying the price will cost more than my legs that currently do the job for free. That's your last free one, Daniel. That's the last time I read out one of your childish jokes. Yeah, I saw Not Suspicious's comment earlier that I wanted to talk about, where we were talking about Alien Rogue Incursion, and it was this comment saying it's worth remembering and reminding folks that game development is a business, and sometimes you cannot delay because you have to meet payroll. And that's
true.
Yeah, we get it. And it is one of the heartbreaking aspects that we hope our audience are adults about, are really grown up about and
Mhm.
understanding that these are the realities of the people who are making this art for you to enjoy, that they've got a very tough decision sometimes of, do I put the game out and it needs a bug fix after a month, or do I hold it off? And Christmas is that killer time where,
And yeah,
man, if you miss that rush, you're
missing that
all out of it.
window can
Oh,
hurt.
Daniel
Yeah.
gave us money, so
Oh,
he
Daniel,
gets to
thank you.
comment more. All
Well, he
right,
did.
thank
Well,
you,
there
Daniel.
he bought some more time. You know, we're going to start selling
He-
blocks of comment time here. Yeah.
Well, he knows he's in hot water. He knows he's our local troll here, and
Yep.
he's on thin ice here. So I appreciate.
We love you, Daniel.
Yeah.
You're great.
So, yeah,
All
people
right.
talking about the VR treadmills, right? That
Okay.
is there are so many solutions there. It was even depicted in Ready Player One, the omnidirectional
Mhm.
treadmill in the broken down van hidden at the bottom of the trash heap.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah. No, I mean, it is. We're, I've got a collection of all of these things. I got a treadmill out there. I've got a motion simulator. Do I use them every day? No. Do I hop on it every once in a while for a little bit of a deeper immersion? Yeah. The treadmill thing, though, I will say, just kind of getting off topic, I'm not a fan of them. I just really haven't found one yet that actually makes me feel like I'm walking and not ice skating or walking on a frozen lake or sliding my legs or just doing weird stuff. So.
all right, let's move on here. What do we got next on?
Let's see here. I think we're kind of blowing through everything pretty quick here. We had a pretty light agenda today. So last we were just going to talk about Metro's spiders and the decision of Vertigo to add an Arachnophobia mode into the game. So, yeah, thank you, AD,
Wow.
for the donation. We're getting a lot of donations today.
Thank you so much. It means a lot to us to get that
It really
support.
does.
We've got memberships. We've got patronage. We're trying to figure out how to add more benefits to those things. One of the I've got some ideas here for how we can do that, but we're trying not to make those promises, and we might need
Yeah.
more information from some of the
kicking them
people in
around.
our audience to really serve them their needs. But these donations are tremendous, and they show us direct support right while we're doing this conversation with everyone. I love, like when people were screaming and doing that YouTuber voice of slowly
Hey, what's up,
raising their
everybody? Sorry.
we're pushing back at that and trying to have deep conversations, and when we make mistakes we correct them. We
Absolutely.
understand there's a lot of nuance to all of this, that gosh, that nuance gets squelched out of every other social network. Daniel, wow,
I can't
coming.
believe
Wow,
AD's dad
we've now got a bidding war going between Daniel and AD out there. So thank you for that bidding war. It feels
absolutely.
delightful to see. All right, let's talk about this one. And if you've got any questions, comments, general things, let's keep the conversation going. We'll try to address those this week rather than driving based on our own conversation here.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll kind of back half of the show can be very interactive since we got a light agenda. But Metro spiders. So yeah, they were terrifying. And I mean, me, I'm kind of the designated guy on the team that gets to play all the horror games because they don't bother me as much. But the one thing that does, and I kind of alluded to this last week when I talked about our full review of Metro, the spiders still get me in games. Nope Challenge, especially any game that has spiders in it or just bugs in general, it just creeps me out. And the ones in Metro, hopefully, AD, thank you so much. The ones in Metro here, as you're hopefully seeing behind me, are aggressive. I mean, these little suckers are everywhere and they're jumping at you and they're crawling. And I think one of the worst things in the game is that they literally, and it's usually in scenes where you have your gas mask on, they crawl across your gas mask, like crawling across your face, and you won't even know that one's jumped on you, and you'll just hear this little in like one of your ears, and then you'll see it crawl across your face, and it just creeps me out. And it's even worse, and this is just a personal thing, because, well, I've kind of temporarily moved my studio to our garage. So now I'm out there filming the Metro review as I'm doing the spiders in a spider-infested garage. I am flipping out, man. Like,
Going full circle on this, right? Going back to my original, why you should get a shoulder strap bag for your VR headset
yeah,
is because you zip up the bag when you're
yeah.
done and put the headset away in a place
Oh,
where spiders and sunlight cannot destroy your
I blow
life,
in
right?
mine every time.
Oh, no,
Every
all
time.
right. All right. So, story there, right? When I first moved, I moved in California from one place to another, and my first thought when we got to the new house was, I'm going to set up my VR room in the sunroom.
Mhm.
This is a room that is not well insulated, and I was like, I can try. It's got the most space in the house. I can dedicate it to VR. I went out and set up everything, and I realized that my computer there is raising the temperature of the room by about 15 degrees. That just to begin with, and I moved on from this idea. I ended up moving the computer, the Vive boxes, Steam VR tracking boxes inside the house, and did every other arrangement I possibly could for VR around my house while letting the outside room uh, stop being used for those
Right.
purposes. I go back out to that room as it's time to move out, and I'm going through boxes, and I open up a box, and there's a black widow that is about this
Oh,
big
man.
around inside the box. I've never
Oh.
screamed that way in my life, and this was the original home of my VR headsets. Like, this is where I'm going to store my things. All right, so we're talking about spiders here, right? And if you went and put your VR headset on and you found a spider in the face mask, there's a possibility that you're put off of VR for life.
Oh God,
Like,
no. Yes, it's like I couldn't touch it. Do you remember, like, because we've been around, as long. Do you remember, like, back in the DK? Was it DK1 or DK2? The Reddit post of the guy apparently like a spider, like had babies or something inside, and he's like playing. I remember the post vividly, and it literally is nightmare fuel. I'm about to give you guys nightmare fuel. So, as Ian mimes with his wall, there was a post where this guy, and he showed pictures of it. He's in his DK2 playing a game one night, and he just starts thinking there's something wrong with the screen because he sees all these little black dots all over the screen, thinking like pixelation or whatever. And he pulls the headset off and looks through the lens, and it's like hundreds of little tiny spiders crawling around inside of his headset, inside the lenses.
I don't care if it's true. I don't care if it happened. It is the urban
It's
legend of the 21st century, what you've
nightmare
just
fuel.
described, right?
Oh my God, it's
there's
horrible.
old stories of like burrowing inside the hair, you had a hard shell hair and a little spiders. This is the new version of that, and it is horrifying to imagine. And now we've got virtual spiders crawling around on faces. All right, I think we've put enough fear of spiders into our audience
So now
to make the case of putting your headset in a case every time.
Yes.
If you leave the headset plugged in or it's on when it's not in
warm.
use, you're
Bugs
making a
love it.
nice little warm place for a cat to lay on top or a bug to crawl inside and get a nice little.
They like the warmth.
No.
So now, with all that said, because a lot of people feel the same way, Metro is gonna get an arachnophobia mode, and it's interesting because it's kind of a reverse of policy. It's like, it's like I don't think they wanted to do this based on the verbiage of the tweet, but I think they're going to add it anyway because there are just so many people freaked out. It was really interesting that the minute I tweeted out our review, like within minutes, I got an official response from the Metro account saying that they were looking into it, and then within an hour later, Vertigo posts, "Hey, you know what? We're doing it." So I'm not saying our review made it happen, but it was just. I think it's needed. I think there are some people who would really enjoy this game if they took the creepy factor of the spiders, but in the same vein, are you then now taking away from the art that you created? Are you taking that suspenseful section? Because there is a whole section of the game, not to spoil anything, where it is all about the spiders and trying to get through them. And, so now have you diminished the game in some way by removing that?
All right, Tigers, I hope you got your VR headset case zipped up, and I hope if there's anyone else that actually did go and zip up their VR headset case while doing this, call it out in the comments, because this is a public service announcement of protecting yourself, your VR headset, and your future, because yeah, this is a game ender, right? This is an existential
Oh, no,
crisis
no.
for
Yeah,
VR. Yeah.
it was difficult. I mean, there were parts of the game where without the arachnophobia mode, I literally did. I closed my eyes and just pushed the stick forward, hoping that I could just run through it.
Scratched Winter saying they should give the character an option to avoid them in game, but have narrative consequences. So
Oh,
still
I
getting
like
the
that.
story there, but
Okay,
also
I
letting
like
you
that.
get away from. Yeah, my headset's starting to itch a little bit. Right? Did you get that? Do you have that feeling now after
Yes.
talking about this?
No,
Oh,
because we're talking about it. I'm literally like, did you just see me? Like, look, I'm like creeping around, looking around, going like, what's around me right now? Because sorry, I usually use my Bobo strap with the facial interface off. Today I have the facial interface on, so I'm fully immersed, and it's kind of freaking me out that I can't see what's around me as we talk about the spiders. So,
oh man, yeah, we're sorry for the nightmare fuel, but it's all in service of protecting you and keeping
thanks
you
for
safe
ruining
inside
VR.
VR. Yeah, for
Daniel
longer.
Weeper says you've now ruined VR. Yeah, way
Well,
to
if
go,
you
Ian.
had seen those photos, if you had seen the horror stories that Don just talked about, yeah, you would have been put off
I have
VR
a few of my own. If you go to my personal, okay, so like kind of
Oh.
parroting on yours. Okay, so my studio that I just kind of gave up for a temporary for some family stuff was in my sunroom. So same situation. It was in the sunroom. Hard as heck to heat or cool, lots of bugs. There have been multiple times where I have come out of a headset and in my little green cube area where I was doing mixed reality filming, I've taken the headset off and there have been literally like $half sized brown recluses crawling up my wall. And I don't know, they don't have those everywhere. I didn't really realize what a brown recluse was until I moved here to Missouri. But Jesus, these things bite you, and then all of a sudden your flesh starts falling off, or could. It's terrifying.
Oh my gosh. Okay. The donations have stopped rolling in.
Yes,
so I think
we scared
reached,
everybody.
Yeah, I think we've gotten our limit of how much spider talk we can have for one show. Oh no.
No. Well, like I said, it is now going to be an option. So thank you, Vertigo, for those who want to enjoy this wonderful game but just couldn't get past the spiders. Yeah, Daniels, I'll donate if you stop.
Yeah. Oh man. No. Yeah. So yeah, keep those headsets zipped up. I hope I sold a few VR cases today.
You probably did.
Well, that's the thing about the desk that I'm using. The article that I'm going to write up about this. I'm not even going to use the brand name of the strap, the case that I'm using. I'm not going to. I don't care about the brand name of the desk that I'm using, because the irony of this and our audience that we have like uniquely here is, there are no search terms to go and get the things you need for VR. There's no one. All the products we're using were like made for other purposes that have been shifted over to VR in a lot of cases.
Oh yeah, big time.
And there's no market category for it. There's no branding that people go and search for. You have to like search pneumatic height adjustable portable rolling desk, and that's how you find what you need for the desk situation. Yeah, I sold 5 cases and made 60 people return their headsets. Yeah, well, I'd rather them not encounter the horrors of VR outside of VR, right?
Yes. No.
Gosh.
No.
Keep
in
yourself
Australia.
safe. Any comments to respond to while we're going through this?
I just don't believe that anybody met an Australian who said that they've never seen a spider. That's just not right, because apparently the entire island is made of spiders. I mean, it's like you walk on them or something.
Beck says it happened. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know about all that, but let's see here. Somebody still needs to make a case where you can charge your Quest 3 in the case. I'm pretty sure they have some battery cases for
There's
Quest
a couple. 3. The one you got to look for is just look for the zipper. Where you want 2 zippers on your headset so that you can
run a cord into it.
Yeah, you run a cord in there and just have the cord go through the zipper spot and put the 2 sides of the zipper on whatever side is most convenient, and that works for a lot of people.
Well, plus it's just not a bad idea to have a good carry bag for your headset anyway. I mean, I know they're pretty sturdy, I mean, I've dropped mine a few times. I've, thrown mine in luggage, but I always still get weirded out about just throwing it in a backpack with something else. I
Yeah.
want something that it fits in perfectly and,
Yeah, well, the lenses, you got to protect the lenses from
Exactly.
dust, aside from the other things that shall not be named. But the idea that the strap, so number one, protect the case, protect the headset itself from light, from bugs, from dust. And then the strap is so important to me
Mhm.
because you can pull out. You don't want to be carrying it by the handle. It would
No, you can
be
throw it over
that's a
your
pain.
shoulder.
Yeah, so you get a shoulder strap case for your VR headset, and then put that shoulder strap case in another one, and you're good to go across all possible scenarios, right? Put on the backpack, and like all the scenarios that are still coming online right now for us and our audience, going on a plane, plane, train, or bus. Any of those situations, you're in a tight quarters.
Yeah.
And the last thing you want to be doing is going through a big backpack, finding the battery pack, finding the cord, finding the headset, and dealing with the dust, stuffing it all back in there. No, pull out the miniature bag that's inside the bigger bag, and then you've got everything to put
Yeah,
back
so
in.
compact. I
Yeah.
mean, so compact. So now I just want to address this. AD, thank you for all of your donations today, by the way. Again, he's asking, is there any news for the Valve standalone headset? That's something that Ian will talk about most likely with David on Thursday, just to give a plug for VR download on Thursdays. So we're really filling out our streaming lineup throughout the weeks now. So, every Tuesday, you're going to be able to see me and Ian here talking about all of the cool stuff going on in the virtual and mixed reality gaming industries. Then on Thursday, you're going to be able to join Ian and David for some deep level discussions on everything going on industry related in general with hardware, and then now on Fridays, Beck and I have actually, after lots of work, found a really good way to start streaming games. So we are going to be moving forward. So sans me being sick or away, embargo stuff, you should now see some game streaming on Fridays.
So as Don is alluding to, yeah, definitely David Heaney and my discussions on Tuesday is a great place for us
Thursday.
to get industry-wide trends. And what's great about that is David and I have very different viewpoints on the future and where things can go. And while that means that if I say something right now, it's because I'm free of David and I don't have to worry about him arguing back at me. But then I'll get into it on Tuesday, and we will get into that argument on the Valve question. I would just point you to
Whoa. Sorry. Thank you. $50 donation.
What?
AD, you're killing us here. Thank you with your generosity today. Anyway, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just had to call that out in the moment.
Jeez. Wow. Thank you. That's incredible. This is our highest earning stream in a while, I think, because of all that. So going back to the question, I want to address it a little bit more, even though we would get into it with David on Tuesday. So the Valve headset rumors, it's been out there. What I want to point out is go look at Steam Link on Quest. Go look at Steam Link on Apple Vision Pro. That is an incredible amount of innovation to come out of Valve, even though they're not shipping new VR hardware since the Index in 2019. So you can now use hand tracking on a Quest, open up the Steam Link app, have that hand tracking forwarded over to your games, and still, like, you can go get some of the game control profiles that are built into Steam and have the game try to map to your controllers, or get an untracked controller in your hand and pair that with the hand tracking and get pretty far pretty quickly.
I never thought about the untracked controller. That's an interesting take. I never thought about doing it that way.
Yeah, well, that's my Joy-Con discussion that I've been nearly banned from discussing over on the download because David rolls his eyes every time I bring up the Joy-Cons.
Well, I'm not going to roll my eyes. I think that's pretty cool. I'm all about experimentation and doing fun stuff like that. I will say the first time I dropped into Steam VR without my controllers in my hands and forgot that hand tracking was there, it kind of like messed me up for a second. I'm like, why do I have lasers coming out of my hands? I'm like, this is interesting, but it is interesting, and I really can't wait to experiment more with that. I think it's great that we're starting to see all these systems parity, you
Well,
know.
yeah, so if on that note, so taking a little bit further, it's all based around OpenXR and this open ecosystem, this
Mhm.
way of having the headsets talk to the apps and have it be universal. So on Apple Vision Pro, a $3,500 headset that is not made for VR gaming. Do not go and get an Apple Vision Pro for VR gaming.
No.
There is still this workaround method where you go and install a test flight or an open source app, ALVR. You get it on your headset, and then you install it on your PC, and boom, your Apple Vision Pro is now talking to your PC in much the same way that Virtual Desktop does. Virtual Desktop does it at a much higher quality over on Quest. But it's open source based, and that's what I'm getting at here on that question of Valve, right? Valve has been forking, like it's been building the market for Steam bigger and bigger and bigger by supporting these like open source projects and building them in as part of not just open source but open protocols.
Yeah.
Building that into the very core of their system in any way that makes the market for Steam bigger. Well, we've got the Steam hardware survey that we do on this show on VR Download, and we talk about just all those Quest headsets out there. The moment you exhaust the library of everything built into the headset, it makes a lot of sense to go and get a PC logged in, a nice beefy
Mhm.
PC, and you get into Half-Life Alyx, Flight Simulator, and all those things that, wow. So very long term there, we know people are working on it at Valve. We know that they're waiting for the right time, the right matchup of hardware. And you can see some of the hints of that today in the way that Steam Link talks to a standalone headset and gets you all that stuff from your local PC over to it.
Mhm.
And we'll come back to VR Download on Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern time, as David and I try to not fight with each other, but also fight with each other. Any other
In a good
comments we
way.
want to talk about here?
I'm just kind of winding everything down, and people are talking about your ALVR there. David's saying, so if I understand it, Ian, Apple Vision Pro works with ALVR for perfect PC VR gaming in 4K per eye. I wouldn't probably say perfect.
No. Yeah. Well, so I think I feel like right now this because I don't have David to shut me up right now. You take the Joy-Cons and then you pass the skeletal hand tracking. You take the hand tracking as the base of what you're doing. You pass that from a Quest or an Apple Vision Pro through to your PC, and then you've got a pair of Joy-Cons in each hand. You could have them hanging from each hand. You could have a strap, right, where they just hang, they dangle there until it's time to actually play something, and the interface is based around hand tracking first. Then you pull these controllers up. I've been waiting for this moment when I can take the same pair of Joy-Cons from an Apple Vision Pro using ALVR and then go and reconnect them over to the Quest and do the same thing with Steam Link or Virtual Desktop or even the built-in solution. The moment that happens, the moment that that's really a smooth experience, I'm convinced the VR market will open in ways we haven't really
I can see it.
seen it before, right? What we've seen Meta do is they had these big tracking rings on the front of the controller. First, the tracking ring was down here so that it could be seen by cameras far away. Then they put the tracking ring above the controller like this so that it could be seen by the headset's cameras. The most recent controllers from Meta don't have a tracking ring. They just have lights built into the controller that help it be tracked a little bit. But one more step further is track the hand first and then follow on what you're tracking, like have a little bit of knowledge to know, okay, well, that's the shape of a Joy-Con.
Yeah.
Let's add that to what you're doing. Have your hands be ground truth. And AD, you just keep it coming. Wow.
I'm
Thank
telling
you
you,
so
brother,
much.
you are, man, you are killing it today. Thank you so much, AD. So, and yeah, I never thought of that. So I'm glad that you brought that up. That just like, I mean, it's just so simple to think, put the untracked controller in your hand and it's so. All
Yep.
right.
Well,
let's see
yeah, and this
here.
is me unfiltered because I don't have David to roll his eyes at me. So I appreciate the space here to do that with you all. And AD, you're just encouraging me to do this in the future. So thank you so much for your support. It means a tremendous amount. Any other comments that we should respond to?
No, I just, like I said, I think everybody's just kind of talking amongst themselves here. And again, thank you for all the donations. So I guess we're kind of rounding out towards the end of the show. I put in our notes today, since we didn't have a lot of content, one thing I thought we could maybe do is just talk a little bit about some of the things that we're excited to play this week. Maybe some of the things that we're working on that the audience can expect to see on Upload.
Yeah, well, I'll look for that article soon on the desk as well as the shoulder bag and why those are so important right now. All of a sudden, right? You've got I'll have links to all the things I did buy in the thing, but I'm not going to refer to the brands. But yeah, the cup holder, the shelf that goes underneath the thing, and then the next thing I'm going to be trying to do. Well, let's see. I've got a very busy day tomorrow. I've got some demos. I don't know if I can share all those, so I will be AFK tomorrow. Thank you to Marcellus Wilson. Says it's a hilarious show today. I think we made everyone pretty creepy crawly through that
different
episode.
Show today. Yeah, a little lighter. So
yeah, let's see.
Cool.
And then I will be trying to do the Joy-Cons thing with both the Apple Vision Pro.
I can't wait.
The Quest, and see if I can finally get that up and running, because I think that's going to be a huge preview, because we know a new Switch is coming. We know Nintendo. I've hinted at this for a long time. All right, I've said this on the other show. I've got to say it on this show, right? We're entering a period where we're going to see unexpected team-ups between major companies that were platform holders last generation. This generation have to learn how to partner with somebody else. They have to learn how to use that partnership to catch up. Google could be a good candidate for that, right? Google walked away from VR a couple of years ago, and now they got to find someone who to partner with. Microsoft just killed its mixed reality platform. They got to figure out how they get back into it. And here is Meta sort of inviting all companies to their party and doing a lot of interesting things. And we're all out there waiting for Valve to pull the trigger on a truly open. Can you imagine what would that look like?
God!
Can you imagine installing another operating system on a VR headset? Is that something Valve's actually going to do if they actually make it out there? That would
be mind blowing. I mean, that would be I don't know. I was kind of trying to formulate thoughts on this like analogy earlier when you were talking about something. It kind of, a lot of that kind of still brings me back to, do you remember the old days when graphics cards were segregated? Where you couldn't play something if you had an NVIDIA because it came out for an ATI or it came out for a Matrox card, or, some of these companies that don't even exist anymore. I've seen VR like that up until now. And now I finally think we're kind of coming to the point where things are going to start to standardize.
Yeah. If you go install Steam on a Mac, and it's a modern Mac with an M234, one of these new generation, are they up to M5 yet? One of these new generation M chips. You will actually be super surprised when you go into your Steam library and find a large chunk of the games in your Steam library are suddenly just magic compatible with a Mac ecosystem. I'm pretty sure I could be... What? Hey,
no, he did it again earlier while you were talking. They actually dared him to drop $20 every time you said Joy-Cons.
Joy-Cons, right? Joy-Cons. Okay, no.
No, it's just
yeah. The I think that's the work of Proton, and that's an example of one of the projects that Valve is just supporting quietly for years in getting these games unlocked from that Microsoft only graphics card dependent system and making it work in ways that, gosh, we were just talking about ultra wide screen over on Apple Vision Pro. It's wildly cool to have a game that's stretched out over 60% of an ultra wide screen display. And then you've got a full screen over here for all of your productivity stuff. And how does that change gaming when you don't have to always switch modes to play your favorite game? Your Stardew Valley, all these games that like would take over your screen, now they can sit over here while you're doing all your other stuff. It changes everything. So
it changes the game completely.
Yeah. Well, thank you to AD, our new sugar commenter.
Sugar commenter.
Sugar
mentor.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for all of the amazing comments this week. This has been a funny one.
Oh, Dunedin
sorry
just
for the
joined. Thank you.
nightmares. Oh,
Dunedin,
wow.
thank you for joining.
Yeah, I think Dunedin has been a member in the past, and I think we've entertained him enough to come back.
Okay.
But thank you so much. Thank you to Davin and all the regular commenters. If you haven't supported our work in the past, please think about it in the future. And to all our supporters out there letting us do this work, we thank you so much, and we will be on it in the future because of you. So thank you to Beck out there for broadcasting this for us from Canada without the nightmares of America up there. So we hope you're safe and doing well up there. And thank you to Don for his incredible work keeping up on games and checking out the spinny chair for all of its benefits. That's what I wanted. That's why I was frustrated early in the show. I was ready for Don to just tilt his head and
real quick
circle for a couple hours.
There was 2 reasons, because it is kind of loud too. Like you can hear the motors, and I didn't want the mic, so. But
all right. And yeah, Bob, Not Suspicious, that's the creator of Airspace Defender, who's now tuning into most of our shows after we showcase them earlier in the year, making the comment, please buy my game so I can donate to you guys too.
And yes, if you buy his game, I forgot we forgot to mention this real quick just on the way out. Update coming for Airspace Defender tomorrow.
Yes,
I
so look for that. I think there's a new characters in the game to control, so check that out. And that is a cutting edge game right there, right at the front edge of hand tracking.
Love it.
Beautiful idea. And tips at uploadvr.com. If you're working on something, reach out to Don or I on DMs. We're always willing to hear you out. If we don't always have the time to join you in VR, we will try to make time with the updates that you bring us over time. So we'll see you in the future. Thank you so much.
See ya.